got to do all that legal stuff these days.
Just wouldn't feel right if you didn't have all these legalities.
I had to do the legalization and everything. Hang on a sec, let me.
Let's see if it's gonna go. There we go.
Oh, it's going now.
Hi, everybody. Let's
Right.
see.
Hang on, let me skip this.
We got Clint Eastwood in the house. We got Uncle Al, Dead on the Ewe.
There we go.
Bali song, Thomas, Mouse. Daniel God is my judge. I saw Chipper. There he is. Sergeant Jane, Skeleton Slayer. Great.
Don't mind me. I'm just moving things around on the screen here.
Mellow.
Woo.
Wolf, Ron Stryker, Mr. Ellis, Jessica, Kyle, Shazdo, Digger Dan, NJ, Mr. TB, Jim Survival Casual, Preparedness, Pharaoh, Moko, Dave, Brian Shaw, Band of the Red Hand, R, Jennifer Johnson. Hello, everybody. All you fine shy typers out there.
All right. Okay. The way I've got this set up tonight, a lot of folks like to ask these questions since we are in unusual or uncertain times and things like that, right? So
Adkin, sorry.
All right.
Papa Truck.
Okay.
So.
I was going to fill people in.
Yeah, go.
What's going on and stuff. All right. So tonight, all right. The way.
Hey, cool hand.
A lot of folks will ask these questions, right? So
Mike Neal.
I feel like I could help others, so I will fill you in just short amount of this, and then we're going to get spilling into this. So, okay. Hello, everyone. All right. So, before we get kicking into this, all right. So, we couldn't do the live public last weekend. Okay. Now, the reason why, because there's a lot of legal disclaimer stuff we have to look at and go through before we can do it. Second, I wanted to make sure, well, what are we going to talk about in the, are we there? Hey.
Melanie!
Thank you. Boom, 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 boom.
Thank you very much.
Rockets.
Gong or the cowbell?
Cowbell.
Okay, I gave you a choice.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
The legal stuff for folks out there that want to know like details of stuff like this. And we didn't do a public live last weekend because it had just came out, the new stuff, and going through it, you've got to be careful what you say. So now, it's not kid friendly. Okay, so you can. We already explained all that. You can switch your channel to not kid friendly, or you can do this, and this. Okay. Now, what are you going to be talking about? Are you discussing things that can harm others and things like that? Or, when you lead through the age brackets and stuff like that, do you need to mark your stuff 18 and up? Folks ask that question too. Okay, 18 and up. What does that do? It demonetizes the whole channel. You can't find the videos. You're not going to see it in the search. There's a lot of things that happen when you go 18 and up. Okay? So, what are you discussing? And that's the thing. And some of the topics that we discuss is just prepping related. Buy food, buy water, build a bug out bag. These types of things are not dangerous. So it's going to be okay for some things. Now, some things I'm not going to be able to discuss. So I'll just have to be very careful and filter what I say just to make sure. That's all I got to say. I just want to let you guys know that. Because people are going to ask the question. So I figured I'd fill you in. There's that. I'm tired. I'm beat. You want to know why I'm tired and beat? All day long. All right, so we've been filming this thing. We've been doing this all day. We've been filming all day long, and it's we finished 44 individual bags with the help of you guys. 44 individual bags for the homeless. Now, 4 of those bags are for people that really need stuff. They don't have very much at all. And then what is it? 15? Was it like 15 of those?
15 of the regular blue backpacks.
Those are and those were donated as well. And those are a little bit more upgraded.
Yeah.
And they're really good. They're really good for handing out. And
yeah, they got some more. They got some clothes and stuff in
now
those Bible New
I
Testament
gave
books.
everyone shout outs when I was doing this video as
Got your
much as I
mama.
could, as thick as I could, and I even apologized if I missed someone because it's so hard to keep track of every single person. But there were so many emails. There's it was a mountain of emails, a huge uh, how do I say that? It was
There's
a
a plethora, a
well
volcano
well it
explosion.
was a huge response.
It was just
It was a
amazing.
huge response, and that's what we're going to get into. You
Mm-hmm.
guys will get a chance to see it. We're almost finished,
I
and
know you guys, y'all pulled through. We did 44 bags.
44.
Woo!
That's a lot of
That's
bags,
a lot of
and
bags. You guys are awesome.
we still have leftovers. So those will go to local shelters, the soup kitchen, or wherever they need them. We've got to call
Yeah.
around first before we head out. But
Hey,
gosh, man,
Chris.
I've been sitting in the floor all day. Me and Boo Boo Bear, we've been sitting in the floor. She's been catching stuff I hand her, and she's been stuffing them in bags. And can you
Mm-hmm.
still say explosion? yeah, yeah. It's not complete. We're okay. We have Daniel. We haven't gotten to that point yet. And you lost my number. I was going to talk to you on the phone so I can fill you in on
Oh,
stuff that I
Daniel.
know.
Daniel,
Uh,
Daniel.
for some of you guys that have channels, if you guys want to talk, just hit me up somehow so we can. I'd like to help as many people as I can because I know it's going to be a huge knee jerk reaction for a lot of folks, and it'd be good because you can't talk about everything in a video. So
Hey,
sometimes
Norman.
it's good to get it out
And
and help each
Rich.
other out. Well, anyway, uh, is boom. No, I think we're good. Do you want to talk about your topic? Do you
Yeah, I can.
do you want to do your topic?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, 'cause 'tis the season of pneumonia. Already seen a couple cases of it at the hospital, but you know, it's just stuff to talk about.
I've got some I've got some long game type stuff we can talk about,
Mm-hmm.
and um, we can get into that,
Thank you, James. And
and we can also do a few questions and stuff if
mm-hmm.
anybody wants to.
Q and
If
A.
yeah, if anyone's got some prepping related topic questions or something, if anybody wants to ask anything that, what do you think about this or what do you think about that,
Mm-hmm.
and we can try and talk about those because we've got a whole side chat of folks and us sitting here. So
Yeah. Take it away,
sippy,
Sippy.
that's all.
Okay.
That's all you.
All right. So now, disclaimer. Disclaimer.
Go ahead, do your
This
disclaimer.
is not, coming from a medical advice direct me to you. This
No.
is always, if you think you have pneumonia or you're feeling sick, talk to your doctor, use your resources while you have them.
Yep.
This is just an event if no supplies, no
Yep.
resources, you're on your own, no help's coming.
And this is
Have to
when
say these things.
Sippy does these topics, they are not. It's not medical advice. This is just simply a
Mm-mm.
topic. It's a
Mm-hmm.
discussion, and that
It's
is all.
just like awareness. This will be pneumonia
she has
awareness
to co-
week.
she has to cover all those guidelines.
Mm-hmm. Technicalities, because I'm not getting dinged.
Yeah, don't get dinged.
All right, so we'll go into the most deadly. Which pneumonia is 100% fatal? Anybody know? The bubonic plague. When it gets into your bloodstream because you got bit by a cat or a rat or a prairie dog or a squirrel, and the bubonic plague gets into your bloodstream, and your blood goes into your lungs, you have pneumonia, and you die.
So what? So
It's
what did I get?
100% deadly.
So what
Deadly.
did I get bit by?
A cat,
A
a
rabid
rat,
rabid chinchilla.
a squirrel, any type of rodent, basically.
So
Those feral cats.
grid down, and I'm
Uh-huh.
trying to eat
Thank
rats.
you, Moko.
I'm just kidding. John Boko, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Uh,
you. Was that the Conan? No, Conehead thing. Yeah.
Comments.
But yes, because the bubonic plague is still amongst us, out especially in the um, West Coast. So yes, if you get it into your lungs, you're pretty much dead. Even in modern medicine times, if you have it, you're dead. You're dead, little bunny. You're dead.
Dead.
But because it has to be caught within 12 to 15 hours of a fever. It's like, well, fever can be anything. It can mean anything. So, um, and another thing, if you get it, guess what? It's extremely contagious. So, if I'm coughing on BA there, guess what? He just got the bubonic pneumonia.
I think
And he's dead.
I think Ellie Bell's going to be the one that passes it to the whole family. If she got it, she'd be coughing on everybody.
She'd be hawking loogies in your eyeball.
She gets right in your face.
Yeah.
Hey, cover your mouth.
Can I give you a kiss?
Let me drink out of your water bottle.
Yeah.
Hey, don't drink out of my water
Yeah,
bottle.
while you're not looking. So, yes, it's airborne infection awfulness. So, yes.
Kids.
Nasty stuff. But it's pretty nifty, though. Modern day testing, it only takes 15 minutes to analyze your blood and tissues and stuff. And
We're good, Josh.
And they'll go ahead and treat you with streptomycin and tetracycline. So those are the two antibiotics. You have to have both. They have to be together to make Superman powers to kill off the pneumonic plague or bubonic plague. So
Fleas spreading.
Yep, those nasty fleas.
Those nasty fleas.
So
I guess they could spread it.
So there is that one, and luckily
Semper Fi, Mike.
We really don't see that one too much. Now, it's really important to try and distinguish the difference between your pneumonias that are viral or bacterial, because if they're viral, don't waste your antibiotic supply on that. It's not going to touch. It's not going to do anything. And of course, bacterial, we'll get into kind of the more broad spectrum or most common used antibiotics that are used for those, because there are many different types of pneumonia. And so if you have a bacterial, because now we're not going to be able to go to a hospital or your doctor's office and they can't swab you and try and take a culture and see what kind of bacteria is causing it, so we know which antibiotic to match it with. So if it's really bad, which we'll get to the signs and symptoms here in a minute, if you start taking your antibiotics, you should feel better by 2 days. And if you don't feel better by 2 days and it's staying the same or it's getting worse, chances are it's basically going to be virus. And I wouldn't keep wasting your antibiotic supply on it because it's not going to touch it.
I can talk about some disposable PPE when you're done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and stay out of Los Angeles. Typhoid's going around downtown. It's nasty. Awful. So the pneumococcal pneumonia, which is a major one, your signs and symptoms for that is going to be a high fever and chest pain, difficulty breathing. And when you're coughing out your loogies, it's going to have like a rust tint. Not bloody, but more of a rust color.
No kidding, Mark.
Now, the chest pain is going to be your tall tale between trying to differentiate your fevers between other, like, infections or the flu, which we know flu is kind of more throwing up, or diarrhea. So that's kind of how to gauge if you have that type of pneumonia. So hopefully you'd have a good stock of penicillins, but with penicillins, unfortunately, they work really good, but also those bacteria organisms can definitely build a tolerance to it quick. So they become resistant, that penicillin won't work as good. So the next good choices to use are the macrolides or the fluoroquinolones. So my antibiotics videos didn't get blacked out or anything.
No, they're still up. They're fine. They were.
Hey, frickin' Dig and Mark.
The antibiotics video that you had covered had had been demonetized, and then I did.
Yes, you
I,
can, Chaz Dog.
um,
You can.
I filed a dispute, and it's back up now.
Okay,
So
good.
you've got it back, and a couple other of your videos were taken down, and I feel a dispute for
Hey,
those.
Squid. Yeah, Chaz, you can, because there's that antibiotic book I always recommend that Dr. Bones wrote. And he says they can even be over a year outdated and still be pretty decent as long as you store them in a cool, dark place.
Yeah.
You know, in the original container, not exposed to light and whatnot. So, yes. And he goes into the fish antibiotics as well. So, there you go. So yes, that is for the pneumococcal
Uh,
pneumonia.
And if you go to the Amazon link that I post every time when I make a video, it's just a storefront for us, and there's a book section there. It's SHTF books or something like that. If you click in that, some of the books that Sippy mentions, I try to add them to there. So there's
Awesome,
one in there
Rusty.
there's one in there that's specific to antibiotics. It's just a whole book on it, and it
Mm-hmm.
gives you some details on different ways to use
Mm.
antibiotics. So
Colloidalized silver won't really work very good on pneumonias. I mean, it could help as long
I don't know about that one.
as long as it just depends on the strain. Because I mean, even like I said, virus mark chase. If your antibiotics don't work within 2 days on it, chances are, like your symptoms aren't getting any better. It's viral. So
Yeah.
colloidalized silver will not touch a virus. There's no way. Nothing that we have really on this earth can touch a virus because it replicates our DNA. So whatever we use to hurt that virus will hurt us as well. Um, it's not very potent to reach down for that type of bacteria strain for colloidalized silver. The silver is really good on burns and
It
like
works really
those
good on
those
burns.
superficial affections too, like in your tissues. But when you're talking about something that's deep in your lungs, um, it's not as
I know
harmful as antibiotics are.
it works really good on a lot of different things like cuts and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying from my experience using it, it's worked for those personally. I've used, and
Good for tissue growth and
I,
stuff, keeping the
the
infections down.
I don't know what company I have some, and I don't know where. I have a couple of bottles of it, and they come with spray bottles and all that stuff. So I mean it's working pretty good for a lot of different things, but
Yep. So we'll go into the more common type of pneumonia for children and young adults. That's the mycoplasmal pneumonia. This one it's usually not fatal and it goes away on its own. But the thing with pneumonia and walking pneumonia plays into this one also is it just takes so long to recover, and one of the worst symptoms is just that fatigue. You are so flippin' tired and you have no energy. Because I remember a gal from my church, she had it a few years ago, and she said it just knocked her out. And she'd like 4 younger kids, and she said it took her over a month, almost 2 months, to fully get back to it, and it just wipes you out. But yeah, it usually doesn't take any earlier than 3 weeks. And the
yeah.
signs and symptoms for that is a low grade fever, cough, headache, earache, um, and of course extreme fatigue.
Mark's adding something. So you need to boost your
Mm-hmm.
immune system and cease things that lessen your
Yes, like
immune
your
system.
corticosteroids, which I was
Definitely.
going to talk about here in a minute too. Um, so yes, the treatment of this, if these symptoms get persistent, and especially if they interfere with kids, if they're just feeling too weak to not even really want to eat or drink anything, tetracycline helps with the symptoms, so they'll help them feel better, but it will not kill the bacteria. So it's just good to make the person feel well enough to want to eat and drink.
Tina, Tina's saying something there. What's that? I don't know what she's talking.
I don't know, Tina. I haven't
Speak
heard
go.
about that. I know it's virus is fast replicating. I mean, it is super
I've got
fast, and I don't know how fast it would take for your body to absorb something like that.
I've got some other book. They're way in the back though, but I've got some books that are on things like that. I'll have to dig out and see if I can find something because it could be in that book too.
Hmm. All right. So, yes, that's pretty much it for that type of pneumonia for the kids and stuff. And of course, they'll also complain chest pain. Also, breathing in and out. Not trying to get confused with chest pain from a heart attack or something like maybe you pulled a muscle, but it's usually on breathing in really hurts, breathing out hurts. So other causes of pneumonia that you can get, I mean, it's just not being around an infected person or extreme cold weather too. It could be because you're bed fast or chair fast. You don't move. Shallow breathing can have your pneumonia can build up in just a few days if you're breathing shallow because you're
Ch-
not. Hmm.
I was just talking. I was going to say something to Chaz Dog. You'll have to look it up, Chaz Dog, individually. Like if this kind of goes with the whole long game topic for tonight, and what made me come up with the idea of I have to come up with a name every time I do one of these things. I kept thinking of the things you're going to run out of, and uh, and Chaz Dog's bringing up a good point here. Like what's some good what could I use that's over the counter now that in the event during SHTF I could take to help my life better, right? So, and that's what I would my recommendations to things like this is because we can't give out that information. So I mean,
You can go to Dr.
you
Bones'
can
channel, Doom and
there's
Bloom.
there's certain people who can, and then there's certain people who can't. I don't want to give out the information just because legal disclaimers, but you can look up those individual situations and get everything you need to know. I mean, you'll have to look it up individually. Like, if I catch pneumonia, what do I need? So, over the counter, what can I get? And anyone, any pharmacist, when you go to, even if you're shopping at your local wherever, and the pharmacist is back there at whatever place you're shopping at, you can go right there and ask that very question, and they can point you in the direction of that's everything that we have for this, that's everything that we have for that. So if you can't find it online, that's one more way that you could get that.
Hmm. So if you're shallow breathing and you're not, taking in some good deep breaths too, you're just going, you know, um, you're not filling all those little air balloons in your lungs. They're called little alveoli. And so since they're not inflating all the way, they're just maybe doing a um, like the fluid will collect in the
Why is she
bottom.
saying she will pray for you?
I don't know. I'll take all the prayers I need.
She
Um,
says she hopes you get better.
oh, I'm not sick.
She's not sick.
I told BA, I'm like, what? I kind of look like I got a sick thing going here, but whatever.
She's not sick.
I'm just sick in the head. I'm just kidding. But since
She's not sick.
I'm not sick. Ellie Bell was just getting over a 3-day fever.
She got all of
Random.
us sick,
I
and
didn't get sick.
you didn't get
You're
sick, but the
always
rest
sick.
of us here got sick.
Yeah. But so that little moisture that helps lubricate your lungs and everything, it'll get stagnant in
Freaking Doug, you
there,
made it.
and it'll grow into bacteria because bacteria loves moist, dark places. So that's how you get pneumonia. And we always encourage patients, no matter where we are, whether they got a knee replacement or they're recovering from something, you need to do deep breathing. You need to get your butt up and walk. I know you're very tired or stuff hurts, but if you don't get up, walking, and moving, you're going to get pneumonia quick. And that's no bueno thing. So other things is if you're 65 and older, it sucks. Older you get, the more your immune system goes meh. And alcoholism, malnutrition. And if you're even on a broad spectrum antibiotic like penicillin for 7 days or more, that's killing off your good floral and good bacteria too, and that makes you also susceptible to pneumonia. It's so weird how that works out. And if you're on corticosteroids, especially for something chronic, because whatever body part's really inflamed, those are really bad about lowering your immune system. So I know doctors try and rotate as much as possible time periods for those. Yeah, mold spores can be inhaled, causing pneumonia. I mean, like I say, you can get pneumonia, fungal, bacterial, viral. It's crazy. It's just crazy, crazy. So, let's see here. Like I said, viral is hard to tell from bacterial, and we talked about how you can try and tell the difference between that. So, other signs and symptoms of pneumonia is if you're having a hard time breathing when you're just kind of laying flat, and or even kind of reclined, you have to kind of sit more up an upright position to catch your breath easier. You can have a rash. Like I said, you're tired all the time. You sweat easy. You get tired fast. Even just maybe walking upstairs. Poor appetite. And then some of the severe signs, like it's getting really extreme, is your cheeks are really flushed, and a bad sign is your lips and your nail beds are blue, which is a very bad sign that you're not getting the oxygen you need. You're not getting that good perfusion of oxygen. So yes, that's not a good sign. We don't want to be blue. So how are we supposed to treat our pneumonia with limited resources?
Uh-oh.
So you got a lot. You can do a lot with pneumonia.
Mm-hmm.
You can.
You can do a lot with pneumonia.
Yeah. Well, you can do a lot
Insanity.
to help.
Bandit of Red Hand
Okay.
just donated you
Thank
insanity
you.
money.
Boo 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 boo. Thank
So
you.
now you can buy a Snickers bar.
Thank you, Snickers.
and a couple of cups of coffee right there.
Yes,
And a donut.
and hot cocoa with extreme marshmallows.
Extreme marshmallow hot cocoa.
So, what can we do to get this pneumonia gone? Hydrate. Number one thing. We always push hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Drink lots of fluids.
Are you guys talking about pneumonia or old age? Well, I'm starting to.
Both. We'll just intertwine it here. So hydrate.
I don't want to get any older, to be honest. I'm starting to experience a lot of weird things.
You got a lot of those secretions that need to come out. And, if you got to hawk your loogies out better, drink at least 2 to 3 liters of water and Gatorade. That'll thin it out, and that'll help you hack it out, and life will move on so much better when you get all that crap out of your lungs. Don't use anti-cough medicine. Please, if you are coughing out that bacteria, don't suppress your cough, because it's just going to build in your lungs.
Yeah.
So we always say don't make a productive cough non-productive, because it's just going to make your life miserable. So
kids have a bad habit of doing that too. They'll just kind of.
Well, I mean,
no, you gotta let that out. Just rip it.
Well, yeah, the things I didn't even think about before nursing school.
Yeah, man, get down in there and
trying to make that make sense. It's like, oh yeah, I wouldn't want to suppress that, because I want my crap out of my lungs. So yes, don't use any of that stuff until it's a dry cough and you're not coughing up anything for a few days. Then by all means, go ahead. If
Hostile
you need to
projectiles.
sleep.
That's right.
That's funny.
Let it out.
That's right. So you do need to have that bed rest so your body can fight the good fight against those stinking little microorganisms. But you don't want to act bedridden now. Just don't you make that your excuse to be lazy. You still need to get up and move frequently and change positions, because if you're moving frequently, even side to side, kind of getting up, walking around a little bit, it gets things going and moving, and it moves those mucus plugs off the walls in your chest, and that way you can hawk it up. So,
Dumb question.
yes, it's my side. I got a microchip, pretty big.
Yeah, she's got a microchip.
I gotta hide.
She's gotta hide that.
So that's why, Johnny, you can ponder no more.
She's a living computer, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, Cyborg's my second cousin on my dad's side, twice removed, something like that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's just my thing. It's just what I like to do.
She
All
loves
right,
bandanas.
we do. Um, okay, so next one, deep breathe, people. Meditate. No, you don't have to meditate. Just make sure you take a good breath. You can feel it go all the way into your lungs because you're inflating those little balloon sacs in there and you're making them work. So it doesn't get stagnant. And you should be doing those deep breathings at least 10 times. Disregard my username.
Disregard my username.
That is not possible.
I will. Wouldn't you just change that? I mean, thank you. I appreciate it. But I mean, wouldn't you change that? I mean, I'm not saying I'm offended. I'm saying I wouldn't. I wouldn't rock a name like that.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm at a loss for that. I don't know what to do.
If I just, I call him like I see him, bro. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you want to do deep breathing at least 10 times per hour, because I know it's gonna. Well, I don't know, but I can understand it's gonna hurt when you're breathing because of that chest pain. But you got to keep doing it. So try and do it at least 10 times an hour. Otherwise, it's just gonna get worse.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I wasn't going to either. Yeah.
Too lazy to
it's
change
them,
it.
isn't it? Yep, it is them. Isn't that something funny? They would do that too, wouldn't they?
Let's see. So yes, get up and get walking. We have those fancy, I'm sure, if anybody's been in the hospital, especially after surgery or whatnot, they have that incentive spirometer where you inhale it. You don't blow out to move the little ball moving up to see, but yes, you got to inhale. Inhale, cough, those are the good basics that will help you, especially if you are in a stage where you're stuck in the bed for a little bit. Please do your deep breathing. You don't want anything else pestering your life. And that's pretty much all I have for the pneumonias. No worm pneumonias. I mean, it can happen, but no.
Oh, we're good, Rachel.
Hello, Rachel and Teddy.
Are you having a birthday today? I saw something earlier on IG that you're having a birthday today. So, happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday.
If you are having a birthday, happy birthday. All right. What else we got? Okay. I'm just making sure there's nothing else that.
Nope.
All right.
Take it away.
Check it out. So I was pulling some stuff up here, and it was kind of interesting. And okay. So I kept going on, and I kept going on today, and I was thinking, long range. Now this is just prepping related, and preparedness related, emergency preparedness related.
Hi, Bob.
Does that make sense? All right, so I kept thinking that, well, as I walked through the house, I had this light that I had set up. Okay, it was just an LED light, and this LED light had 3 small batteries, and the light itself had been washed in the washing machine and then dried. Never before was it ever turned on. I pulled it out and I had to smack it on the counter a few times and I got it to work.
That's why you check the pockets before you put it in the washing machine.
I turned it on.
I don't check pockets. I don't got time for that.
Sippy ain't got time for that.
I ain't got time for
I,
that.
I turned it on and it lit up. And I took it and
Pneumonia.
I just I just set it up somewhere and just left it on. I was, it already been kind of trashed being that it was put through the washer, and I couldn't get it to stay on. If I turned it off, I had to like beat the crap out of it again and turn it back on again.
That's
So
a better name.
I just decided to leave it on, just goofing off, and I just set it up there, and it's still lit. I I walked through I walked through there this morning, and it was still on, and the when I gave people kind of an update on that little light, it had been on a month, and now it's been on a month and a week. So we're going on some time now that this little bitty light has stayed lit. Now it's just a tiny little flashlight, right? They're super cheap, little LED flashlights. You can buy them at the dollar store, any of these places, and get one. It'll stay lit for a long time. Now it's completely useless because it just kind of lights up and lets you see it. That's about it. I mean, you can see it. It doesn't really light up anything.
Yeah, you can't even read with it.
You can't read with it or anything.
You're just like, hey, it's still going. I'm like, dude, it's a little speck of light.
I found it to be fascinating that that little bitty LED light was still lit after it's been a month and a week. I mean, just at a month, I was still surprised after being through the washing machine that it was still staying lit. That was just a cool thing. Anyway, something like that, and then I got to discussing candles and making your own candles. Now I've talked about this before. Now making your own candles and candle books and stuff, and I've got what is it? The Country Wisdom books. I've got I think every one under the sun. I've got the big, huge, thick Country Wisdom book, and it's got everything from building smokehouses to root cellars to cold frames. I mean, the list goes on. Dehydrators, all these things you can make yourself by hand out of some, if you've got a little bit of skill, time, and patience, you can make a lot of stuff that will work without electricity. And that just got me thinking. I was long game and SHTF. And it doesn't have to be economic collapse. It doesn't have to be an EMP. It doesn't have to be grid down. It doesn't have to be a pandemic. It doesn't, I mean, the list goes on of all the things it ain't got to be. It could be an economic collapse, but whatever the case is that happens, you want to ensure that a long period of time you will be okay.
You will be okay.
That's not what I mean.
You will, though. It'll be all right.
To be okay, all right? You have to look at all the things that you're going to run out of. And this isn't some kind of list you can find somewhere and say, well, what are all the things that I'm going to run out of? Or how many uses are there for baking soda? How many uses are there for bleach? When does bleach expire and I have to get rid of it? And all these little details of things that we all talk about. And what are you going to run out of?
Everything.
Everything. Over time, you're going to run out of everything. And there's like this, I was talking about Lample, Lample. It's like, what about Lample? You're going to run out of Lample. You're going to run out of wicks for the lamp. You're going to run out of those. And what are you going to do for light? Candles. You could make candles. What are you going to do? When you burn that candle out and then you reuse your candle wax to make more candles, because most folks will. You burned all your crayons down, right? It's just all these different things. And that's definitely right. You want to learn to make it, try to make it yourself. So, going through all these different things and skills to have and things like that. How long do you predict that you're
Yep,
going to
raise their bees.
you're going to need stuff? And there's like these the 5 levels of preparedness. The 5 levels of preparedness. It starts. This is actual. This is an actual true true 5 levels of preparedness. This isn't something that you can just go onto the internet and go looking up. This is the five levels of preparedness. Now, so I mean, there's level 0. Level 0 is
Ooh, that's intense.
every emergency is a disaster. Level 0. Every emergency is a
I
disaster.
knew it would be intense.
You got nothing. I mean, you got nothing. You've got
Not even clothes on?
just you've got no you've got enough food in your pantry just to cover yourself, right? Just
Maybe a day or two.
maybe a day or two. 3 days away from going hungry, and there's there's nothing else. And then you've got level 1 can survive 2 weeks of a minor emergency. That's level 1, and that's do you have a way of heating your home for
So, like if you're stuck in a snowstorm, pretty
snowstorm?
much.
Okay. If it snowed right now and you lost power and temperatures dropped,
Like in Utah right now.
could you handle it? And do you have what you need to handle that? Other thing is, there's folks there's folks that newly moved to the area and they haven't experienced a hard winter before, and the underneath of their house isn't their home isn't as insulated as some others, and the pipes freeze, something silly like that, right? Things like they wouldn't know, or they wouldn't know to check, or they wouldn't know to leave the water running, or all these different things. Unaware, unaware. It's not, they just didn't know. There's some folks that really just don't know. They either don't know or they don't care. So that's 2 ways of looking at it. Now, but level 1 is can survive 2 weeks, minor, right? And then level 2, I'm not going to go through all the details of these because
Start cuddling.
uh, uh, level 2 you can survive 1 month of an emergency. Now, something serious has happened and you can go 1 month, okay, and you'll be fine. And but then you got to look at like level 2. You got to look at all of your family members caloric intakes. How much food is everybody going to eat? And
Thanks, Fred.
you got to
I don't agree, but thank you.
you've got to sift through everything that you're going to need, and you got to have alternates. Redundancy is key. You got to have alternates. You got to have an alternate way to cook. You got to have an alternate way to prepare your food, and you've got to have a way. What if you can't get water? What are you going to do about water? This isn't like
Well, if you're in a
freezing.
snowstorm, at
Well,
least you can melt it.
snowstorm, you can melt it, okay.
Boom in
But
your face.
that's just one thing. That's just one simple thing. What if you're not in one of those type of scenarios?
Hmm.
Just saying. If you're
Okay.
not in one of those scenarios, then what are you going to do? For water, do you have water stored? So you need to have something water to cook with. You need to have food, backup water, all these things. Water so that you can take a bath, clean yourself. 1 month later without a shower, right? Or your kids or whatever. You know what I
Spit
mean?
rags.
I'm just saying. I mean, you could do baby wipes and things like that. You could do tiny little bird baths or something like that. But you still want to have a backup on water.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be your level 2 area right there. Now, uh, level 3, you can survive 3 months of an emergency. You've also got 24-hour security rotation at home. So, level 3, you would have to be able to patrol, have food, water, the whole nine, and all of you will be just fine. This also goes with medical supplies and everything
Mm-hmm.
else you would need to hold out for 3 months of an emergency. That's hardcore. A lot of folks will say, well, well, I'm pretty high up there on the preparedness list. The thing is that when someone says, it's just like if someone asks me if I'm prepared, right? The guy who talks about preparedness, I could give you a level of where I'm at. Because no one, I don't think I've ever met anyone that's level 5. I don't think I've ever met anyone that's level 5. That's way up there. That's like uh,
Well, that's those rich doomsday
you
preppers.
you better be loaded to be level 5.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that's level 5, to be honest. I've never met anyone in person that's level 5. And so don't go beating yourself up if like level 3 is where you have to call it quits. You won't call it quits. You'll just say that I'm a level 3. I can handle level 3. I could do that. Uh, Deep pantries. I mean, level 3, you've got deep pantries. Deep pantries. I mean, you can walk in them, walk around. You can,
Or you have a cellar, pretty much like you're saying, right?
yeah, you'll have to have at least a root cellar and a basement with plenty of canned food, and
Yeah.
that's level 3. I mean, level 3, that's about the typical average prepper's been doing it a while. The average prepper's been doing it a while is level 3, and that's someone who can actually has a little bit of experience with a shotgun and things like that, right? So you'd have to have a little bit of experience with stuff. All right, level
Hey,
4.
what's this?
Level 4 can survive 1 year of an emergency. Now, now this goes into details. This goes into details about the type of medical supplies that they have, and not just
Fish and beans.
uh, not just security, but watchdogs. And there's a lot of details in that one. And level 4 also requires livestock, so they can survive a year in an emergency. And
Antibiotics. All
the
sorts of stuff.
people would always get so offended. Now I'm about to say some harsh words that no one's going to want to hear. They hurts my ears when I hear it, but doomsday preppers, they would always do this. The practical whatevers of whatever would rate their score from this to this. Okay, this has nothing to do. This is the actual chart that I'm reading from. It's not theirs. This is the actual chart. And it was always so funny to see the look on everyone's face when they did not meet that mark. They didn't meet that high score that they couldn't have 12 months of initial survival time. They were so upset. They like they were being called out less of a person for not being able to meet that mark. There's not a lot of people that can meet level 4. There's not a lot of people. I mean,
Well, you know what? They never really brought up as medical.
yeah.
They never put medical in that
I mean, this
situation.
level 4
It
covers
was always with security,
antibiotics.
food, water.
This covers antibiotics, 6 adults that can work 24-hour rotation security patrols. This covers all that stuff, and the amount of stuff, the degree of security is ridiculous, and the amount of ammunition, things like that, all these details, and be able to produce. The garden has to be that of a crop,
Mm-hmm.
practically a crop, to produce food to be level 4. I mean, level 4 would be a farmer that has about 6 farm hands that are trained,
Mm-hmm.
and but then they still have to work, so you would have to have 6 more folks. So
Mm-hmm.
you're feeding about 12 mouths just to do that.
And they go into the education of kids too, if that applies.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to continue on with education
And
somehow.
it also says that here you have to have suitable education, suitable and be able to educate their children at home. That was the other step of level 4. Level 4 is kind of a deep degree.
It is.
I'm just saying. Y'all don't want to know level 5. Level
Oh, I
5
want to
is
know. Let's do it.
level 5 is through the roof. Now, level 5 is the last one on the list and can survive indefinitely
Oh.
from their home during a multi-year SHTF or Tiawaki situation.
They put SHTF in the book.
Yeah.
An LDS forever.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
They even put Tiawaki in this book.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. I want to know level 5.
Well,
y'all.
it goes through the fully function of food production. They've got harvest coming in every year. Able to harvest seeds for next year's planting. Able to raise multiple generations of farm animals, cattle, sheep, horses. Has horses or a local distant travel. So you'd have to have alternative means of travel. And you don't want to know. 10,000 rounds per weapon. 10,000 per weapon. That is insanity.
It's a lot of
Has
reloading.
has spares for each one. Has spares for magazines. Has biodiesel, alcohol, all that stuff. Solar power banks. Deep solar battery storage, and natural has a natural on-site water source for the farm, home, base business to generate income, and they have all these other things. Repairs to existing buildings. You have to have abilities to repair existing buildings, and not just that, but provide. You can also provide excess of food. That's crazy, man.
Secondary
You have to have a
residency.
secondary residency as well to go with your previous location.
So in case, yeah,
Yep.
for another bug out
So you would have to
location.
have two. You would have to own two places, as that would also be your. And you have to keep security
It's
at.
completely normal to have 10,000
You
rounds.
have to keep security at the second place. So you got 6 individuals patrolling your backup location. So you got your place, the backup location, with 6 individuals patrolling it. To be level 5, you would have to be on a freaking another level. I mean, a whole nother level.
You have to have like
Cotton spinning wheels and all that stuff.
minor
I'm not going.
surgery and childbirth.
Yep,
And,
childbirth, minor surgery, all
well,
that
you
stuff.
you would.
Dentistry. You have to have all that stuff to meet the requirements of level 5, which is crazy. So level 5 is like the last on the list. You kind of have to base it like that because there has to be a stopping point. At what point will you? Well, I've covered every angle, right?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you'd have to reach. Well, what would cover every angle? You know?
Get a missile silo. That's right.
Why not? But at some point, you have to figure out what's the last. What's the last? What would be the last thing? Who is the most prepared? And it would be that. You would have to have all that to be ultimately, and you wouldn't require any help from anyone.
Yeah, it would be the farming ranchers.
Pretty much. I've said, and that would be level 4. I mean,
because they stick to the good, the good land that has all those running streams going through it.
level 4 would cover for a farmer if you're a farmer and you have plenty of access to resources as a farmer, then and you had help more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, more than just some hands on deck that just a few. You would have to have a backup for them so you could still conduct your daily routine and make your rounds and still provide security. You still have to do all these things while the others are doing the work. So it's a lot. Yeah.
A BB gun.
There you go. There you go, Mark. Y'all set. I mean, you could pop
Yeah.
them in the eyeball or something. Just saying. One of those semi-fully belt-fed.
Well, but I mean, that's why nobody can really do that as a
Mm.
person. That's why you've always had to have towns.
Yeah, that's why you have to have towns.
You have to have somebody that's the doctor, like who was at Mark St. or somebody was seen up to have the village idiot or the
Hmm.
blacksmith. You have to have your own little town. There's no way even just one family
All right, so
could do that. That's a lot.
now I said
Oh, isn't that sweet?
that is sweet.
Little bookmark.
Boo was helping me with tonight's thing, so she was giving me bookmarks. All right, yeah, Boo gave me that to mark my page in my book. Here you go, Daddy. Here's your bookmark. All right, so
Oh, well, good luck to him, Robert. Tell him don't quit. Even though you might go insane, don't quit.
all right, so with that all being said, I want to just kind of throw out what was the recommended. This is just a 30-day food supply. Now I can get into longer, but I wanted to just kind of pan over a 30-day food supply to give folks an accurate and gauged list of what is required for 30 days. And it isn't, to be honest, it isn't a whole lot. It isn't a whole lot.
Oh,
Cool
thank you,
hand, Luke. You got to ring the bell. My eyeballs. Thank you, Cool
Mike.
Hand.
We appreciate you, sir.
Boom.
Thank you.
Atomic blast.
Thank you, Mr. Billy. Keep surviving California out there.
Keep on trucking.
Keep trucking until you can move out.
Here is a good list, and you've got food items and ounces. You can break this down different ways that you like to. If you want to break them down as food items and serving size and things like that. But if you want to get um, serving per can, the amount of servings per can, if you did here's the thing. So just basing it off of canned foods and things like that, if you do, there's your instant potatoes, and it kind of gives you a price of each one of these, okay? And it'll tell you the exact caloric intake of each one, and also the calories of each one, as you were, the calories of each one, and it'll also give you nutrition and all that. So the way they break this down, I don't think it goes any further than just from that list. There we go. It goes over to the back side. It will cost you a grand total of $190.23. Okay, and from this list you'll have 89,000 calories, and then and it gives you a list of carbs and fat and all that stuff and protein. But I just want to talk about the calories for a minute. Now, it's 190 bucks. Should cover it. But from this list, it gives you the exact stuff from Campbell's Chunky Beef Soup, 3 cans. Campbell's Chunky Chicken Based Soup is 3 cans. And that's all that's required. So each individual person would need to pick this up. And each individual person would have to be able to process that food. So if you're getting stuff for a kid, get stuff for a kid. If you're getting stuff for an adult, get stuff for an adult. This is more of an adult list and splitting it up and making. But cans would be your best bet as far as food storage to last you a 30-day span. But like it was saying, 3 cans, and you got 3 different types of Campbell's soup here, and that would be 3 cans, 3 cans, 2 cans, and then you get to 8 cans of Chef Boyardee pasta, and it just goes on and on. And you've got like Arbor beef stew, Hormel roast beef hash. You've got Van Camp's chili with beans, ranch style baked beans, Taco Bell refried beans, Taco Bell seasoning mix. You would need 4 packs of that. It gives you like a shopping list for groceries. So you can go through so many of these,
Mm-hmm.
and then grand total. Let's see, how many cans do we have? Uh, Also, it multivitamins was like the last one on the list. Did it give a grand total of the cans?
I don't think so.
Let me see. Usually it has the total of each. Okay, it didn't give a total of the amount of cans altogether, or the amount of items you would have altogether. It's quite a few, and the list is pretty long. And that's just a holdout for 30 days, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you going through the list now?
Yeah.
They're still in my list.
That's a lot, though.
That is a lot. Then you got to go the other side.
We're at 54.
And see, then it goes into here. It
Yeah,
goes
then it
into
goes in the
containers,
box. So it's
containers,
like about
boxes.
70-ish type cans and then some boxes and
Well, because you're going to
bags.
need 1 box of instant powdered milk, and you're going to need 10 pounds of granulated sugar,
Yeah.
and then 15 packs of Kool-Aid drink mix. I love Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to have your containers of Tang,
Quick.
Quake,
Yeah.
Quick
The oats.
Oats. You're going to want some oatmeal, Spam lunch meat, and
Rice and stuff. Yeah.
all kinds of
It's,
stuff.
yeah, 70
Gravy
to 80
packets.
cans,
And
it looks like.
but pull this all together, and you also want to do, it says here, 3.5 pounds of child's play candy assortment. So you'd do 150 pieces of candy. So you can
Yeah, I
space it
think
out
so,
over
Tina.
time.
As long as you're not going chintzy on your calories and your nutrition and stuff, um, I think you get away with just breakfast and uh, late lunch, early dinner if you had to.
I mean, because I've got list here in real world 1 year emergency food supply, and that 1 year emergency food supply is crazy, and that's how much you would need, and you would spend for 1 year on this food supply was $1,931.
For one adult.
That's one adult. That's how much one adult would need to last 1 year.
Yes, that is the efficient amount of calories. It's not cutting corners.
Hmm.
Um, yep.
I don't know. I think that was the last one for. It was just giving you a rough estimate of what you would need to put into your storage to last 1 year. It would take a lot of, yeah. But yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys. The 5 levels of preparedness, and kind of the reason why I'm thinking if someone really was playing that long game, that because a lot of folks say that they are 100% ready. I get it all the time, and those are the folks that I really worry about is when someone won't just admit. And I think it's foolish to say I don't need any help. I'm good. You can't say, it's just foolish to say that they have everything, because it's very foolish to say that. I mean, there's a few things that I have that others probably don't have, and there's a few things that other folks do have that I don't. So it's like it's something to consider and think about, because you're going to start running out of things. And if it was a really long game, and this is multi-year, like what it was talking about there, could handle a situation where it's multi-year, that's it. No help isn't on the way. Then these are the things that are going to be expected of you. So it just it's a long road. That whole preparedness thing it's a
Mm-hmm.
long road. And
Food prices
I,
don't make it easy either.
but one thing that I will say, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I've been doing this a lot lately, being honest. So, being very honest. All right, so here's the thing, and this is for me, and I know many folks out there probably feel the same way. Prepping is fun, and I enjoy doing it. It gives me something else to do, and I know a lot of other folks probably feel the same way. And if I hate being honest, I know a lot of other folks probably feel the same way, and you you kind of learn something different. It isn't your typical daily routine of you know someone who's grocery store shopping to grocery store shopping, right? You go every so often that you need to go, and you may have made a list or you forgot your list at home, and you get inside the grocery store and you're walking down the aisles, and well, wait a minute, am I out of bread, or do I need more of this? Did I forget that? I don't know. I think I'm about out of toilet paper or something, right? That's just simple stuff. But if you think about it, and how often do we do that where we're like, I'm totally out of toilet paper, you know? Not most, that doesn't happen to me too often, but, out of one room, it might be totally out of toilet paper. But that's not the point. The point is that there might be something on that list of yours that you run out of often. And it's pretty easy to put a stop to it. Just, get an extra supply of that. I mean, even though it's like for us, top ramen doesn't last very long. A lot of other foods don't last. There's a lot of foods out there that don't last very long on the shelf. But I still buy them anyways, and I still put them in storage. And I wouldn't tell anyone not to. So just keep that in mind. And you just take a really long, hard look at some of this stuff. I have a storage of candles. Not everybody has a storage of candles. And it's something that Sippy and I have done kind of as a little hobby every now and then when we're out. And it's like, hey, smell this one. I smell it. That's good. That one smells like fresh cut lawn. Kind of like that one. And this one's bacon flavored. And then every now and then we just kind of grab an extra candle or two.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, dollar store, they're a buck. I think a buck. They might have raised the price. I think it's like $1.50. That's why it's generally $1, not Dollar Tree. I think Dollar Tree's different. But anyways, I'm digressing from what I'm having to say. So.
Yes, you are.
But you guys get the point, I'm sure. But you got to look at everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got. That's all I got. That's all you got?
Yep.
All right. I guess that's it.
Thank you guys so much for
Thank you
all
guys.
your help, especially with the homeless project. It's amazing.
Well,
It's crazy.
I don't know that I'll put the video up tomorrow because I still have to edit some of that, and I think the kids were screaming a lot.
Just Ellie.
Just Ellie. So I might have to edit some kids screaming in some of the videos while they're running around jumping in and out of boxes. But so at probably Monday or something, I'll have that video up for you guys. I'm hoping that you guys can get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
Just us kind of putting together some bags, and then I'm hoping that we can finish up the handoff tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long day tomorrow, but hopefully we can get up early and get started. And
After church.
Yeah, we got a lot of dropping off to do. So hopefully we can get it all finished tomorrow. But that's it. That's all I got. All right. Thank you guys
Thank you
for
very much.
for coming and hanging out with us. We appreciate you guys.
Yep.
We love you. God bless.
Yep.
And take it easy. Good night, you guys.
Stay sane.